I'm fine. So far the baby looks fine, everything looks good. But I was hit today. If you guys can't tell, we are currently at the hospital monitoring the baby. I was in a car accident today in a parking lot. And it wasn't like a big one, but of course, like anytime there's a bump or a fall or anything, the doctor wants you to go in and just make sure everything's good. So that's what we're doing. And so far, everything looks good. This is how it happened. So I was parked here, and this guy was parked here. And I backed up, and I was like about to go and drive. And then all of a sudden I see this like red car out of nowhere. Like I'm looking back, swing out really fast. So I honk my horn, and he didn't stop, and he just like crashed in. So it's like his back left hit my back right in the corner, like this kind of. And very fortunately, praise God, Maddie wasn't in the car because the guy hit like more in the corner, but still on the side of the car that she sits on. So I'm just very grateful that it wasn't more serious, that Maddie wasn't in the car, I was by myself, and that the baby looks good. So the heart rate looks good, and there's been lots of movement and no pain or bleeding or anything, but it's still really stressful.
All right, guys. Well, I didn't want to talk to the camera and Charlotte was mad because I didn't want to talk to it because this kind of stuff just stresses me out. But the doctor just came in and she said that we don't have to be here for 4 hours, only for an hour because the baby looks fantastic. So a little bit of a scare, but you know, God is with us all the time. Even if we had to stay for 4 hours, he was here. But I wasn't trying to stay here, you know what I'm saying? Your boy ain't got time for that, dude.
So you guys just saw what was going on about 2 weeks ago. I got in a minor car accident and I was totally calm and okay, but then like as I was leaving and driving toward home, I like just started getting really anxious and stressed out and worried about the baby. And so ultimately I decided to call my doctor, who obviously advised to go to the hospital just to check things out and make sure the baby was okay. And thank God the baby was just fine. But I think when you're pregnant, especially, like things that wouldn't normally stress you out, just like you're hypersensitive to different situations. And so I was like a emotional wreck, but we're good. We got a good report. Baby looked really healthy. And now I am officially 28 weeks pregnant. So hello, third trimester. I wanted to give you guys a little update on where we are in the pregnancy and then answer some of the questions that you guys have been asking me. So if you've been following along either on Sed's channel or on Instagram, you know that first trimester was really tough for me. I was super nauseous, just like all the time, and the nausea and the headaches carried into second trimester, which is a bummer, but that pretty much cleared up around the 16-week mark. So I was feeling really good throughout my second trimester. I feel like I'm starting to get big now, and so like some of like the discomfort is creeping in and just like trying to like get up and be like, ugh. And post car accident, I definitely like had some back pain because I saw the car coming, and so when I saw the car coming, I like tensed up, and so like I just like had a lot of pain in my neck and my back, but that's pretty much gone too, so that's good. 28 weeks is a huge milestone in any pregnancy, but 28 weeks also sucks because you got to do the glucose test.
Oh, I know it's tough, but just damn it.
No, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Okay. And y'all, with Maddie, I did not pass the 1 hour test, so I had to go back and do the 3 hour test, and it was just... So this time around, I was like, I need to pass the 1 hour test. I need to pass the 1 hour test. And I passed. You have to get under like 130 when they draw your blood.
The results are almost in.
I know.
Passed.
times, but I was at 71, so I passed with like flying colors. It was awesome, but my iron was a little low, which my iron is always a little bit low because I'm not a big red meat eater, so I gotta beef up the red meat, literally beef it up. Another big difference with this pregnancy is that my 20-week ultrasound with Maddie, my placenta was fairly close to my cervix, so they scheduled a follow-up ultrasound for 32 weeks to make sure that my placenta had moved far enough away from my cervix, and it had. But with Maddie, I had an ultrasound at 32 weeks, and then they had to do a growth ultrasound at 36 weeks. So I got to see Maddie 2 more times after our 20-week. And with this one, at our 20-week scan, everything looked really great. So as of now, there's no plan to see the baby again until the baby arrives, unless for some reason there's a complication that happens in my 3rd trimester, or if the baby's looking small. It's one of the things that I am a little worried about, because when Maddie was born, she was 40 and a day, and she was only 5'13". So I'm kind of just like, am I just gonna have small babies? I really want to focus on just eating good, healthy food in this last trimester to try to help this baby get nice and plump. So that's my 28-week update for you guys, but I also wanted to answer some of your questions. I asked you guys on Instagram what your questions were about this pregnancy, and let's see what y'all want to know. Okay, so we get this question a lot. People seem to think that we are telling y'all a fib and that we really did find out the gender, but we have not found out the gender. Like, we have an envelope, but we have not opened it, and we do not intend to open it this time around. And the reason why we aren't finding out the gender with baby T number 2 is because Sed does not want to find out. He did not want to find out with Maddie, and we didn't find out with Maddie until 32 weeks. We held out that long, and then I had 2 boy dreams, and I was like convinced we were having a girl my entire pregnancy. And so when I had those 2 boy dreams, I'm like, oh my gosh, it could be a boy, obviously. And so I was like, Sed, we gotta find out. So we like quick planned a gender reveal at 32 weeks pregnant. But this go, we are really not gonna find out, you guys. Like, that's the plan. We're not finding out because Cedric really doesn't wanna know. I did wanna know at the beginning of my pregnancy, but then I had a dream that we found out the gender, and I was disappointed, not in the gender, but that we didn't have like during the delivery. So the plan is to wait these 12-ish weeks and find out the gender at the birth. That's the plan. Okay. Anna asked, do you want more than 2 kids? So this baby came a little bit faster than we were expecting after Maddie. I found out I was pregnant the day before Maddie turned 15 months old. So it was a pretty like short gap. They will be about 23 months apart. And for me, I was really hoping for a little bit more of a gap just because I breastfed Maddie up until I found out I was pregnant, and now I'm pregnant again, and then I'm gonna breastfeed this baby, God willing. And so I haven't felt like my body has been my body in 3 years. Do want more kids, God willing, but I don't know how quickly after we have this baby we will like try for another one. Cedric's already talking about number 3, and I'm like, yeah, dude, it's really easy for you to talk about number 3 when I'm still cooking number 2, because you don't have to carry or deliver or feed or, you know, any of that stuff. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll see what God has in store for us. Allie asked, is this pregnancy harder or easier than your first? I would say they're just different. Like I said, I didn't have any big complications with my pregnancy with Maddie or this baby so far. The toughest part of both of my pregnancy was just the nausea in the first trimester. Like, it was just tough. During Maddie's pregnancy, I just felt like really good all the time. I didn't realize it until after, like I really enjoyed being pregnant. And this time, it's not that I'm not enjoying it as much. I think that just because I've got a toddler, it's just been a little crazier. My life's just been a little crazier in a good way, but just a busy way too. I don't know. I think that they've been equally as tough and easy? We'll see. Ask me that question at the end. How is the naming process going? It is going really hard because with Maddie, we had her name. She's named after my sister who passed away. And so like throughout my pregnancy and even before Cedric, like long before, I always imagined having a daughter named Madeline. So when we found out we were having a girl, it wasn't set in stone, but it was pretty much like set, like her name would be Madeline. So this time's been a little bit tougher because we don't have like the name. So if y'all got names, let me know. So Desi asked, is Maddie getting more curious the bigger the baby gets? And she totally is. So if you guys have been following us, you know that we got Maddie a baby doll for Christmas, and she's been like carrying the baby dolls around and like tending to them, and she loves her baby dolls so much. But as my belly's getting bigger, she'll like point to it or like touch it and be like, oh, baby, baby.
Baby.
Baby. Did you say good morning, baby?
Morning, baby.
Aww. And she'll give the baby kisses, so that's really sweet. But I think she's also a little like confused because she'll like pull her shirt up and be like, baby, baby. I'm like, no, Maddie, you ain't got a baby in there. You just got pizza in there, whatever. Starting to understand it more and get more curious about like my big ask belly, but I don't think she fully understands it and won't until the baby's here and is taking up our time and her space and all of that. So most of the questions are just about gender, which we already talked about. Just about like, am I anxious about finding out the gender? I'm not. We're just praying for a healthy baby. When am I due? I'm due July 11th, 7/11. 7/11. 7 twice, man, 7 twice. Somebody asked if I can literally feel my belly growing. I feel the baby getting bigger and like the movements getting bigger. It's like out of nowhere, I'll just be like, bah, bah, bah. It's weird. Okay, last question. Somebody asked how I'm feeling about the labor. I'm starting to feel a little anxious. With Maddie, I was not very anxious about labor specifically, and I had a pretty smooth labor with her. Like I woke up with contractions at about 3 a.m. They were all in my back, and then I had her at 8 p.m. So it was a relatively short labor for a first-time mom, and there were like a few things in there. I'll tell you guys my birth story another day, it's too long. There were a few things during the labor that were like concerns, but nothing huge. And so for this one, I'm like, because I had such a smooth labor the first time, what's this one gonna be like? Is it gonna be as smooth? Or I don't know, I'm just starting to get a little anxious about it. I know that like no matter what plan I come up with, it's gonna be whatever the baby and my body decide on the day. So I'm trying not to like stress out too much about what I want my birth plan to look like, because the reality is I could have like this perfectly typed plan on this beautiful piece of paper and none of it may happen. So I'm trying to just like stay open, stay relaxed about it all, but we'll see like really soon. We're gonna have another baby in less than 3 months. I like turned to Cedric this weekend and I was like, we're gonna have another baby in less than 3 months. It's just crazy. This pregnancy has flown by. So that is it for my 28-week update. We are in the 3rd trimester, the home stretch. I hope that I answered some of your questions. Have more questions, leave them in the comments below. Leave name suggestions in the comments below. We need your help. And I plan to do more videos throughout the pregnancy about like products, my hospital bag, all that. So stay tuned on that. But for now, till next time. Oh, and here's the bump.